Okay, so the launch of the new iPhone is just hours away, and Apple is having a press conference on September 12th. If you're on the East Coast, it starts at 1. If you're on the West Coast, it starts at 10 a.m. So I took a whole bunch of notes here, and there's a lot of stuff that has leaked recently. So today I want to share with you all the new details of stuff that is basically confirmed. I want to give you a couple of predictions, and I also want to give you some details on the new Apple Watch, the new Apple TV, and the new AirPods that are coming out. So let's start with the most popular feature of the new iPhone. This has been talked about for a while. It's going to have a much larger screen that's going to basically take up the entire front of the phone, and it'll have a little cutout at the top there, so you have the front camera, you have the speaker for when you're on the phone, stuff like that, but otherwise that screen's going to take up the entire front of the display. Now what that does mean is there's no longer going to be a home button like the current iPhone has. So that means no more Touch ID likely, and they're going to have a new thing called Face ID. So you're going to be able to unlock your iPhone with your face. Now what that means is you can do stuff just like Apple Pay, unlocking, iTunes purchases, all the stuff you could do with Touch ID, but now you're going to hold your phone up and it will actually detect your face. A few other things that probably indicates is there's going to be some big boosts to the front camera, because as you know now, the front camera is okay, but it's not great. And so if they're going to do accurate face detection, it's probably going to be a lot better camera. I'm going to get back to the camera stuff later, but I am going to leave one prediction here. A lot of people have talked about if you use Face ID, well then you can't unlock your iPhone if it's dark or something like that, and that's entirely true. So my prediction is they're going to have another sensor there other than just a traditional front-facing camera, probably an IR camera or something like that, so they can shine a bright IR light, and that camera can detect it, so then you can unlock your phone in the dark. Just my prediction. There hasn't really been many details on that, but I think Apple is going to find a way to get around the issue of unlocking your phone in the dark. The next big feature that the iPhone is going to have is the A11 chip. Now, the current A10 chip, it had 2 high performance cores and 2 lower performance cores. So the lower performance cores could run when you're not doing anything intensive, and it could save battery. And then the 2 higher performance cores could run when you're doing games or something like that. Now the new A10 chips is going to have the 2 low performance cores, but it's going to now have 4 high performance cores. So it's likely there's going to be some big boosts there. The next big detail is wireless charging. The current iPhone doesn't have wireless charging. The Apple Watch, it has inductive charging, so when you put the watch on the charger, it sort of magnetically connects. It's likely that that's going to be what the next iPhone has, if it has any form of wireless charging. And there aren't a lot of details about it in the leaked iOS software, so there's not really much to go on, but it does look like there will be some new form of what Apple will call wireless charging. Now moving on to the cameras, it looks like the new cameras, at least on the back, will have a 4K 60 frames per second camera. The current one is 4K 30. And there are also some references to the front camera having a 4K 60 camera as well. And while that would normally be unlikely, in this case when you're using Face ID and stuff like that, a 4K camera would definitely help to get more data points and make a much more accurate face detection. So those are the big features that are likely to come in the new iPhone, whether it's called the iPhone 8, the iPhone 7s, whatever it is. Those are likely to be new features. However, there are some things that aren't known. One is how many new iPhones are going to come out, what will be the various different screen sizes. Will they stick with the current sizes? Will they add a new size? Will they go back to one size? Stuff like that. What will the colors be? There's been some talk about will there be an iPhone edition, so a much more expensive version that includes an OLED display. There's not very much concrete detail. We have features, but we don't know if all these features are going to be in one phone or spread across a whole bunch of different versions, so we just have to wait and see. Also, the AirPods look like they may be getting a small update. They'll have a small charge indicator that will tell you if the AirPods are actually charged when they're in the case, or when you take them out, it will tell you the battery status of the actual case itself. And it looks like there will finally be a cellular version of the Apple Watch that includes LTE, so you can then connect to the network without having to have your phone with you all the time. Very nice feature. Not sure if they're going to upgrade them all, but my prediction is Apple's going to keep non-cellular versions and sell a LTE version as well, because they're not just going to throw a chip in there and keep it the same price. They're definitely going to charge more for that. And finally, the Apple TV. This is going to get some pretty significant updates. It looks like the Apple TV is now going to be 4K, which isn't much of a surprise given that every other device that Apple has is now using 4K or something much better than that. It's going to have HDR. It will have the option to do that. And if you're using 4K, it looks like it's going to need 15 megabits per second from your internet connection or better to do that. So that sort of goes without saying that they're probably going to be using H.265 instead of H.264 to get it down to that 15 megabits per second. But we've already seen some leaks with iTunes movies showing that they're in 4K. They're not, but it's very likely that you'll also be able to buy 4K movies and rent them on your computer as well as your Apple TV. So great update there, and that will help with people with 4K TVs finally bringing content to them. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned some new rumors or features that may be coming to some of the new Apple products. I'll do a recap whenever the conference is over, and I also plan on buying the new iPhone, whatever it's called, probably buying the best one that doesn't have too big of a screen. So I'll definitely be posting a review of the new iPhone whenever I get my hands on it. Hopefully I'll get it on launch day. So see you in the next one.